Hello everybody and welcome to John Ski Writes. I am your host John Ski. Today we're doing the first ever book review on my channel and we're starting with Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. So stay tuned and we'll jump right in.
Yo, wizard Harry.
So the book starts with Hagrid, who, by the way, might as well start as I mentioned Hagrid at the beginning, is my favourite character in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Not necessarily my favourite character over the whole series, but in the first book Hagrid is fantastic. He delivers baby Harry. His parents have just been killed by he who must not be named, Lord Voldemort. So he has to live with his muggliest muggle relatives, the only living family that he has. Fast forward 10 years and Harry is still living with the Dursleys in Privet Drive. He is living under the stairs. That's correct. Harry Potter is living in the cupboard under the stairs, thinking he is a normal boy, plain and ordinary, and his family hate him. His auntie and uncle have convinced him that his parents died in a car crash, and that's why he has that lightning bolt-like scar on his head as a souvenir from that. So normally Harry has to stay with this crazy cat lady called Mrs. Fig whenever they go out anywhere because they don't want to take him with them. They can't stand him. They detest him. I wouldn't say he hates them. He dislikes them. He's not the kind of person that hates at this point in the series anyway, very early on. But he dislikes them, but they detest him. So they don't take him anywhere. They just leave him with this crazy cat lady, Mrs. Fig. However, on this occasion, she's broken her leg, got the flu, coronavirus, something or the other. So he can't go there, so he has to go with them to the zoo. He makes the glass disappear at the zoo, and the snake escapes, attacks his cousin, doesn't actually attack him, but runs past, and they basically wet themselves. Ooh, snake. Ooh. And he sets it free, and his uncle and auntie are furious with him. Technically, he should get the blame because it was him that did it. He just didn't really know what he was doing because he doesn't know he's a wizard. So he starts getting letters to Harry Potter, cupboard under the stairs, 4 Privet Drive. They then move him to the upper bedroom. He starts getting letters to the smallest bedroom. So they decide if Uncle Verner's had enough, they move out in the wilderness into this big little rock thing with a shack on it, and they think, ha, we're safe. No one can get me. Enter, centre stage, my favourite character, Rubeus Hagrid. Harry, you're a wizard, and a thumping good one I'd wager at that. Gives him his letter, and he decides to leave the Dursleys behind because he has an option. He says you can stay here if you want, and off he trots. Bye bye Vernon Dudley, bye bye Petunia, bye bye Dudley, and off he goes, but not before Hagrid uses his magic umbrella to give Dudley a pigtail, because apparently that's all that's missing to make him from being a pig. Hagrid explains that his parents left him a bit of money in Gringotts Bank, sort of a small fortune in wizarding money, not in muggle money, and so he takes him through the Leaky Cauldron where he meets one of his teachers, Professor Quirrell, who's a bit of a nervous wreck, and a few other people who can't believe they're finally meeting Harry Potter for the first time because he's famous, but Harry doesn't understand why. He goes off to Gringotts, to the bank, to get his money. While they're there, Hagrid has to get a mysterious object from another vault, which is top secret business, and Harry shouldn't say anything. Once they're done in Gringotts, the Wizarding Bank, which is looked after by goblins, which are not to be messed with because they're not particularly nice, he takes Harry to get the rest of his stuff down Diagon Alley, robes, books, and then my favourite bit, the wand. Harry gets a wand. It turns out his wand and the wand that gave him his scar from Voldemort, their wands are sort of like twin cores. Each wand has an element in it, unicorn hair, phoenix feather, for instance, and the wand that gave him the scar and the one that he has got are both the cores are from the same animal, which I can't actually remember what it is off the top of my head now. And Mr. Ollivander, he says that it's clear to those who've always studied folklore that the wand chooses the wizard. Hagrid gives Harry an owl for a birthday present. He also gave him a birthday cake back in the shack. I forgot that. He gave him a birthday cake, although he sat on it and squashed it, so a student is allowed an owl, a cat, or a toad, I think. Ron, who he meets on the train, has a rat. I'm not sure why, because it's not part of the available options, but he has a rat called Scabbers. Unfortunately, Harry goes back to the Dursleys for a little bit longer. There's one bit I really like, actually, right before he's leaving the Dursleys to go to the train station to get the train to his new school, Hogwarts. There's a bit where he sees the ticket, shows it to Uncle Vernon, and it says platform 9 3/4, and Uncle Vernon rather obnoxiously says, there's no 9 3/4. And it gets to the train station, speaks to the conductor, platform guy, I don't know. employee at the train station, and they say the same thing, but they don't do the obnoxious laugh. But he overhears the Weasleys, his new best friend Ron and his family are going on to the 9 3/4 as well. So they go through, he asks them how, they go through with him, and then once he's on the train, he sits with Ron, and they become best friends pretty much from that moment onwards. So the golden trio it is, not the silver duo. So Harry and Ron are joined by Hermione eventually, a bit further down the line in the school. But at the beginning, they don't really get on. She's a bit of a busybody, thinks she knows best because she studied all these books, and so Ron in particular doesn't really like her, and Harry's not really overly keen on her. So it's sort of the two of them at the start. They don't get on with Snape. No one gets on with Snape. Snape bullies the students. He really does. He ridicules them all. I know there's a lot of love for Snape out there from what happens down the road at the end, but in the first few books in particular, and through most of the series, he really does bully the students, takes the mickey out of them for no reason, takes points off them. This is the only real book that sort of worries about points and counting towards winning the House Cup at the end of the season. The other ones mention it, but it's not really important. This is the main one. But before they start their lessons, before that, they have to get sorted into their houses when they first arrive, and they have the feast, and Harry gets put on the stool, sorting hat on his head, and this old crumpled hat talks to you and tells you what house you should be in. So as the school year goes on, Harry learns about Quidditch. Ron, his best friend, loves Quidditch. He comes from a magic world, magic family. He loves Quidditch. I think his team is the Holyhead Harpies, maybe. That's definitely a team mentioned in this book, and I think that's the team that Ron supports. But Harry turns out to be really good at it. He turns out to be a fantastic seeker. Quidditch is a wizard game. There is 7 of you on broomsticks flying around per team, a goalkeeper, 3 chasers who try and score past the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper obviously stops them, a bit like in football or hockey. And then there's 2 beaters who hit these big bludgeoning balls around that try and hit everyone off their brooms on each team. And then a seeker who tries to catch the golden snitch, which is worth 150 points and ends the game. And there's 1 on each team, which Harry turns out to be because he's really good on the broom. That comes about because of a flying lesson, their first flying lesson. Harry turns out to be a natural. They get told to stay on their feet after Neville has a little accident, and Madam Hooch walks him off to the hospital wing. But Draco picks up something from Neville's remembrall, says he's going to leave it somewhere he'll remember, and Harry says no, give it back. They fly up in the air, and there's this launched remembrall through the air, and Harry sort of whizzes off on his broom, catches it quite spectacularly before he lands on the floor, and McGonagall sees them, so he thinks he's going to get expelled. So there, Harry's on a Quidditch team, turns out to be a natural. On Halloween, a troll gets let in. Professor Quirrell comes running into the Great Hall, and they're all having a nice feast, and he's sort of, troll in the dungeons, thought I'd let you know. And he sort of faints, and all the prefects take the students back to the dormitories while the teachers all rush off to the dungeons to try and catch this troll. But Hermione is up in the girls' toilets crying because of an incident, potentially something Ron said. Yeah, I think something Ron said, like she's a bit of a know-it-all and she's got no friends. I think that's it. She gets upset, she runs off to the toilets. Harry and Ron think, oh no, she's in the toilets. What if a troll gets her? They run up to the toilets. They've never been there before, obviously, girls' toilets. And they get there and they hear this troll in this room and they think, oh God. Strangely, there's a key in the door. So they close the door, lock the door, and then they hear Hermione screech and realise it is the girls' toilets. Quick, unlock it. They go in, fight the troll. Harry jammed his wand up his nose, gets the troll bogies, which is a great quote, and I'll get to my favourite quote of the book later. Ron does Wingardium Leviosa, not Leviosa, as Hermione tells him earlier on in the class, and he makes the Trolls Club go up, down, on his head, knocks the troll out. The teachers come rushing in and they're all going to get in trouble, and Hermione lies for the first time and stops being a bit of a busybody and a teacher's pet for a few seconds and tells McGonagall it was her fault. She knew how to beat trolls because she read about them. She takes them on. Harry and Ron saved her. They're heroes. So she gets in trouble, gets a few points taken off, go to the Gryffindor Tower, and Ron and Harry get rewarded a few points, measly points, because they just took on a troll in their first years. So after the troll incident, there's another incident. I'm not sure which round these two are actually. This one might be before the troll, but they're going up to this 3rd floor corridor, which they've been told they're not meant to go into because it's all students are banned. Being chased by Filch, I think. So they go to hide in there to get away from him and Miss Norris, his stupid cat, and Hermione does Alohomora, great protection for a place that no student's meant to go. She opens the lock, they go in there, and they come face to face with a three-headed dog. That's right, a three-headed dog. And my reaction when I first heard this dog's name was probably like most people's, what the Fluffy? That's right, Fluffy. Insane, but it's kind of funny. It fits with the whole Hagrid having the dog, naming the dog, giving it to Dumbledore to stand guard on the trapdoor. Another good line, Hermione's like, didn't you see what he was standing on? I wasn't looking at his feet, Hermione. I was looking at his heads. That's standing on a trapdoor, and something's under the trapdoor that the dog is guarding. Throughout the film, Hagrid, who is the best character, I love Hagrid in this book. Throughout the film, I don't know why I'm still holding this book, I don't actually need it now, Harry Potter. But throughout the film, Hagrid tells them things he shouldn't, he lets things slip. Later on in the book, he lets slip again, and he's like, shouldn't have said that, should I? Which is a great saying. Probably not my favourite saying in the book, but it's close because it's Hagrid and he's the best character in this book, in my opinion. You are entitled to a different opinion, so please comment below who is your favourite character in the book, and comment below what your favourite quote is as well. You can do that while you subscribe and like my video. Thanks. So they find out from Hagrid that the thing in the trapdoor or under the trapdoor is between Dumbledore and Nicholas Flamel. Doesn't tell them what it is. So they start trying to research who Nicholas Flamel is. I think Hermione goes home for Christmas and Harry and Ron stay. So Hermione goes... I don't know why I did that. Hermione goes home for Christmas and tells Ron and Harry to keep looking in the library, keep looking for Nicholas Flamel, try and find out who he is. Harry, for Christmas, gets an invisibility cloak. It's sent to him with a note, he doesn't know who it's from. Turns out to be Dumbledore. But he gets this note saying, this was left in my possession by your father when he died, thought you should have it. So they use that to get into the restriction section, and he doesn't actually find out that way that the Philosopher's Stone is underneath the trapdoor. That's what Nicholas Flamel's given Dumbledore. They find out some other way, I can't remember what actually. Next excited incident that happens, I think, is the dragon egg. So Hagrid wants a dragon egg. He tells Harry when he first meets him, I've always wanted a dragon egg. And then suddenly he's out one night in the pub, potentially Cauldron, maybe somewhere else, and a stranger walks in with a cloak and it's got a dragon egg. Hagrid wants it, you can have it, but I need to know that you can look after creatures like this. And he goes, well, after Fluffy, all you have to do is play him some music and he's straight to sleep. So after Fluffy, a dragon egg will be nothing. So yeah, he's a bit daft, but lovable. And he gets the egg, gets a dragon, and dragons are not allowed. It's some sort of law that you can't breed or keep domestic dragons, and so they have to contact Ron's brother Charlie. They contact him and he agrees to get his friends to come over and pick up the dragon. All they've got to do is sneak up to the highest tower, which is easier said than done. Hagrid decides to name the dragon when it hatches Norbert. Norbert, the Norwegian Ridgeback, quite a cool name, Norbert. Harry and Hermione try and sneak the dragon up with the Invisibility Cloak up to the top tower. Malfoy has overheard the plan, but they don't have time to change it. So he tells McGonagall and she tries to catch him out of bed, but thankfully because of the Invisibility Cloak, they sort of don't get seen. They get that done. They don't get caught, but they leave the blanket on top of the tower, rather dumb, when the dragon's gone. And when they come back down, they get caught by Filch. Oh dear, we are in trouble. And they get detention. Along with Neville. I think Neville tries to come out to try and warn them that Malfoy's going to get in trouble with McGonagall, so he gets caught, he gets detention. It's Harry, Hermione and Neville, and obviously Draco because he tried to get in trouble. So they end up doing their detention in the Forbidden Forest, where they come across this creature eating unicorn blood, which turns out to be Voldemort. And they then think that Snape's trying to steal the Philosopher's Stone, the elixir of life, keep him alive forever, and that Snape's got to be stopped. You know, it's got to be Snape. I mean, not only is he evil and tried to get past the troll, but he let the troll in so he could try and sneak past the three-headed dog as a distraction, but he also put a curse on Harry at Quidditch, so they think, until Hermione stopped him, and cursed his broom, so he's flying all over the place like this, he's jittering, I'm trying to fly, stop, and a bit like my wife's driving. And yeah, so they think it's Snape at this point, but I haven't got to worry because Voldemort was always said of only ever scared of one wizard, Dumbledore, and Professor Albus Dumbledore is around, so Snape will not go for the thing even if he is working for Voldemort, right? Wrong. They go to see McGonagall in the end, and long story short, Dumbledore's obviously not there, so they decide they can go down the trapdoor themselves. And Harry's like, I'm going down the trapdoor, like, I need to do this, Dumbledore's not here, I've got to stop him from getting his hands on that stone. And lo and behold, that's the first time that Ron and Hermione, I cannot get my words out, but Ron and Hermione say to Harry, don't think we're going to let you do this alone, do you? And that is when they're sort of immortalised, like Harry's about to face immediate danger, and they're like, you're not going alone, you're our friend, we're in this together. So the first challenge down the trapdoor, well, when they get to the trapdoor, the first challenge is getting past Fluffy. But I think Hagrid gives Harry a flute for Christmas. He plays a flute, Fluffy goes to sleep, Hagrid goes down the thing, passes the flute to Hermione, she plays the flute, Ron goes, then she goes, and they're all down the trapdoor. And the first challenge inside of the trapdoor then, shall we say, is Devil's Snare, a plant which thankfully Hermione pays attention in herbology, as I think Harry says, and they get through that. The next one is Flying Keys. So there's all these keys flying around, and they've all got wings, hence they're flying, and they're all on brooms, flying around trying to catch the right key. Harry gets it, gets down there, gets in. Next door. Next door is one of the best scenes in the book. It is Wizard's Chess. Wizard's Chess, for those of you who don't know and have never been involved in Harry Potter, is chess pieces that attack each other and brutally destroy each other. In fact, one of my favourite words in the... I'm going to say it's my favourite actually. My favourite for this book is when Hermione says, "That's barbaric!" When I think Ron and Harry are playing Wizard's Chess. Harry loses a piece and Ron's piece just like... Game of Thronesy style, chops it up. So in this board, giant Wizard's Chess, they have to take the place of some pieces that are missing, and Ron becomes a knight, and Harry and Hermione become a bishop and a castle rook, whatever you want to call it. And in the end, the only way to checkmate and go through to the next door, stop Snape and get through to the next door, is for Ron to sacrifice himself. So Ron unfortunately has to do that. He gets donked on the head, gently this time because it hurt the first time, and he sacrifices himself. Harry checkmates the king, they win, they go through to the next door, and then the last room is potions. So as they go through, flames come up on the door they've just come through, flames are on the door of the door they've got to go through, and there's five potions, and 3 of them are poison. I don't know if they kill you. It was set up by Snape himself, so maybe they were, he's quite malicious, maybe they were just there to seriously wound, maim, kill, but I think they poison you or debilitate you in some way. 3 of them do. 1 gives you the pathway to go back through the door behind, and 1 gives you a pathway to go forward. So Hermione works it all out due to a little riddle, and Harry agrees that he's going to go forward. You know, he needs to do this. Hermione goes back and takes Ron on the brooms back up and sends out Dumbledore. Harry goes through and... No, not you. I paused for dramatic effect there. It wasn't me not editing out. No, not you. It was Sir Snape, surely. Yes, it was me all along. Who would suspect? Professor Quirrell, with the onion-smelling turban and the stutter and the I'm scared of my own shadow. No, it was Quirrell. He has binded his soul to Lord Voldemort, who's living on the back of his head in a squint up, snake eyes, no nose face. And he talks to Harry, and he basically says that he wants a stone. Now there's this big mirror that came up earlier on in the book, and it's in there called the Mirror of Vericide. No, I'm going to go with Mirror of Vericide. I hope I'm right. The Mirror of Vericide, and you look in it and it tells you what your heart most desires. Harry saw his family in it earlier on in the book. Ron saw, who's all been overlooked by his older brothers. He's got loads of brothers and stuff, and they've all done well, head boy, prefect, etc. Ron sees himself as a Quidditch captain, winning the Quidditch Cup, head boy, and being congratulated by Dumbledore. And then Harry asks Dumbledore, Professor Dumbledore, what do you see when you look in the mirror? He goes, if I was to look, I would see a pair of socks.
One can never have too many socks.
But Dumbledore is so random. Dumbledore should have been in this book more. I wish Dumbledore was in the book so much more. He's such a good character. Second best character in the first book to Hagrid. So then a final battle occurs. Harry gets the stone in his pocket because the only way to get the stone is to see it and want it, but not to use it for yourself. Quirrell's like, "You're lying to me, boy, where's the stone?" And then Voldemort says, "It's in his pocket again!" And Quirrell attacks Harry, but as soon as he attacks him, his hand starts to burn when he touches Harry's skin. He cannot bear to touch Harry because of the protection he got from his mum when she died to save him. Something that Voldemort overlooked, the reason that his killing curse, when he tried to kill Harry as a baby, before the books even started, after he just killed his parents, because that protected him. And Voldemort overlooks love because he doesn't understand it, he's never felt it, and so that's something that he bypasses, and that's cost him. So now Harry looks like he's about to defeat Quirrell for the second time. He actually ends up passing out. Dumbledore turns up and saves the day. So Harry wakes up in the hospital with Dumbledore looking over him, and Dumbledore tells him a little story about everything that's happened. He went to the ministry, came back, he swapped, bypassed Ron and Hermione, got down there just in time, stopped Quirrell, but Harry was doing a good job on his own. And then the best bit about all of this is the bit right at the end of this scene, which is one of the best scenes in the book as well, where he tells Harry that his friends all bought him sweets and they're all like stacked up on the table high, and he goes, "Ooh, Bertie Bott's every flavour beans." That's Bertie Bott's every flavour beans. And he's like, "I was quite unfortunate in my youth to get a vomit flavoured one, but I think I'll be safe with toffee." Picks it up, eats it, and then says, "Alas, earwax." And he's chuffed. He walks off with a smile on his face. And I'm thinking, who is chuffed about walking off eating an earwax flavoured sweet? Albus Dumbledore is. What a character. The last thing that happens, I think, is amazing. I think sums up this whole book. It's not really about the magic and good or evil. It's about this little kid, Harry Potter, who finds out he's got this whole new world available to him, and he makes friends. He finally gets a family. He finally gets a place that he can really call home, and that is embodied by how this tournament is won. So they're all in the Great Hall, having the feast, decorated in Slytherin colours because Slytherin have won. They're 160 points ahead. Harry missed the last Quidditch game where they might have had a chance to sort of claw it back, but he missed that game because obviously he was in hospital when recovering from the issues with Quirrell. The dragon incident where they tried to sneak the dragon off got caught out of bounds and had detention, so they also lost a load of points, so they're out of it. Slytherin 160 points ahead, they've won a House Cup, and it's going to be the 8th year in a row, I think, and that's the end of it. It's all green, it's all silver, snakes everywhere. Draco, who I haven't actually mentioned, Draco's a character who, he's good in this game, he has some good lines, some good scenes in this book, but he really becomes better and better as the books go on, in my opinion. For now, Draco Malfoy is gloating over on Slytherin, along with, Crabbe Goyle, his best thug buddies, and Snape's happy at the teacher's table. But that's about to change, because Dumbledore's about to wipe the smirks off their faces, and I think he's a bit mean here. Slytherin deserve it. They're mean to everyone. They're mean to Gryffindor, they're mean to Hufflepuff, they're mean to Ravenclaw, they're mean to everyone. However, this is really mean by Dumbledore, but it's funny.
"There are a few last-minute points to be awarded,"
says Dumbledore. To Hermione Granger for cool intellect, he gives her 50 points. To Ronald Weasley for the best played game of Wizard's Chess, 50 points. To Harry Potter for, I think it's courage, no, it's not courage, it's for bravery and wada. He gives him 60 points. Neville Longbottom. So after they all got in trouble for the Dragon Egg and being bullied all through the first school year, his own family doubted that he'd actually be any magical in him because he's not very good at it. He's a bit of a numpty, but a lovable numpty. Ron and Nat tell him he needs to stick up for himself. Stand up for yourself. Don't let people push you about. So when they're about to go down to the trapdoor, and I haven't mentioned this until now for this reason, for a bit of dramatic effect, Neville stops them and says, "No, you're not going nowhere. You might be my friends, but you're letting down everyone in Gryffindor. I'm not letting you go." And Ron says, "When we said to stand up for yourself, we didn't mean to us. We're your friends. We need to go. It's important." he doesn't want to let them past. He stands up to them and tries to stop them, so Hermione has to body bind him, sort of paralysis thing, on the floor. Apologies if you got blinded by the light on my bald spot there. And he's left on the floor. Sorry, Neville. And they obviously go down the trapdoor. So the last points go to Neville Longbottom. It takes a lot of courage to stand up to your enemies, but even more so to stand up to your friends. 10 points to Gryffindor.
Gryffindor win the House Cup!
All the colours change. Gryffindor celebrate. Everyone loves Neville! Wow! Neville! 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 And, you know, that's how it ends. They all then go off to their homes and stuff. And, you know, it's great, but I think that really summed up this whole book. Although there's all the magic, although there's, you know, the wands and the evil bad guys and the trolls and the this and the that, it comes down to this book being summed up all about friendship and Harry finally getting a family. So now I'm going to rank every Harry Potter book review that I do, all 7 of them, with my own unique ranking. It's all going to be Potter themed. It's no A to F. There's no 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10, none of that. It's my own unique ranking. I'm going to rank each book. I did need the book after all. So I'm going to rank each book as we go along individually. So I'm going to give Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone the ranking of Potterific. Now that sounds kind of bad when I say it out loud, but I mean that in a good way. For me, Harry Potter is Potterific. Go and read it, get the series started, and then you can tell me what bits I missed out that I should have included, what bits I included that I didn't really need to. Yeah, so go read it. And that's pretty much it from the first book. The Chamber of Secrets is coming very soon too. And I'm gonna have another video coming out about my book coming up soon. So thank you very much for watching. Hope I didn't bore you too much. Check out the links in the description below if you want to check out my merchandise on my stores. If you want to see my amazing dog Rolo, who's on some of the merch. And yeah, thanks once again. Hope you had a great start to the new year. I know it's lockdown again, but we'll get through it together and let's enjoy it and read some Harry Potter.